One thing I always say is work smarter, not harder. If you aren't using the Solo app, then you may be working harder. So let's change that. Download the app, link your accounts where you can manage your income, track your expenses, and project your taxes. Not only that, but you can plan by optimizing your time, make more, and even guarantee your daily pay with guaranteed earnings. Download Solo and begin to work smarter, not harder today. Link is in the description. All right, let's get back to it. All right. So with that being said, we do have a special guest, Jazz Hampton. Jazz, thank you for coming on.
Appreciate you having me. Thanks for having me.
Welcome to the show. Should I call you Jazz or can I call you Mr. Hampton, or what would you like?
Oh my God, Mr. Hampton's my dad, so Jazz is just fine with me.
There you go, Jazz. Welcome to Show Me the Money. Thank you for coming on short notice. We put this together last week, but we always put guests on who we think are going to contribute something to the driver community, and we definitely think your new endeavor, probably let's call it that, has great effect probably on the drivers because, as you know, we are independent contractors. We are responsible for everything, including our insurance and, more importantly, including traffic violations, tickets, parking tickets, whatever they are, although we are picking up a passenger probably, on a red or something, and then we get dinged with these things, and we're responsible for that. But before we get into any of that, please introduce yourself, your past and your present, and we'll get going.
Yeah, but Chris, Sergio, thanks again for having me. So my name's Jazz Hampton. I'm the co-founder and CEO of TurnSignl. TurnSignl is an app that connects drivers to an attorney on a video call instantaneously at the press of a button for when you're either pulled over or when you've been in an accident. So if you're thinking you're driving, you have someone in your car, or maybe you're driving by yourself, and you're pulled over and you're on the side of the road, you press one button and it instantly starts recording the entire interaction with the front-facing camera of your phone as it's mounted there, as I'm sure all rideshare drivers know about mounting their phones. And it starts recording the entire interaction with the camera. And then the screen says, we're connecting you with the attorney. They'll be here momentarily. And within seconds, not minutes or hours, within seconds, an attorney shows up on the screen to guide you through that interaction, whether you've just been pulled over or you've been in an accident. The mission and our goal is really simple, and it's three-pronged. It's to protect these drivers' rights. It's to de-escalate these roadside interactions. And third, and most importantly, it's to ensure everyone returns home safely. I'm born and raised here in the state of Minneapolis, or in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Minnesota. George Floyd happened minutes from my house, and that started people calling me saying, hey, when you're in a car, what should you be doing? How should you handle this? And I was on so many panels and conversations. And then my two friends called me and said, hey, we're thinking about building a platform where you can connect drivers to an attorney in their moment of need. And it's funny how quickly it expanded, because my background is a really rare one. My undergrad is in computer science. I then went to law school, and everyone in law school is like a poli-sci major or English major. And I was coming from a computer science background. But during that time, I was a public defender. I used to represent people when they woke up in jail when I first started in my legal career. And then after that, I went and started representing really large companies in their litigation needs, including rideshare companies and rideshare companies and other gig economy companies when they were being sued. And so I had that knowledge as a litigator and spent time in the courtroom for 7-8 years. I was a public defender, and I had a computer science undergrad degree. And so when we started coming up with this idea, we just said, hey, this is a great way to ensure that all drivers know their rights and can protect themselves and invoke them in those moments. But then the first thing I thought about was all of the gig economy folks who need this more than anyone. If you think about folks in that space, you're on the road. If you're a rideshare driver, gig economy in general, you're on the road more than anyone else in the country. Your car is your livelihood. So whether you've been in an accident, the relationship with the organization is suspended or deactivated, or if you've been pulled over and it affects your license status, this is affecting your livelihood and your family, right? And so how can we be there for those people in their moment of need? And so we built TurnSignl. It started just in Minnesota. We expanded then to Georgia, and then to California, and then to 8 more states. And as of today, we are nationwide in all 50 states plus Washington, D.C. And it's really simple. It's $60 a year. Whether you're pulled over 100 times, you're in 100 accidents, and each accident takes 2 hours for the attorney to talk to you, no matter what, it's $60 a year.
Okay. So maybe we can call this the Uber for attorneys. I mean, look, we all get pulled over. I luckily haven't, but as rideshare drivers, right? We are responsible for all our costs. Obviously, that includes our car maintenance, gas, insurance, all that stuff. But we're also responsible for our moving violations, which in most cases, actually, it happens because we're picking up illegally, because, at a bus stop, all these things happen. And then, drivers do get pulled over. I mean, if you're doing 200 trips a week and, 5,000-6,000 miles a month, something will go wrong. But so it's an app-based system, right? By the way, do you have any affiliations? Because I heard that you just signed a deal with Moves in Minneapolis.
Yeah, so there's a Lyft and Uber competitor called Move, MOOV, and they in Minneapolis we were having some issues with whether or not rideshare drivers were going to continue to be able to pick up in the city. And at that time, a third or additional party, I should say, came in to the space, and we formed a partnership with them. So the beauty of that platform is if you are a driver on that platform, you get TurnSignl for free. They provide it for you, which I think is an incredible benefit. Of course, we're having conversations with all of the gig economy and rideshare companies so that they offer the same thing, whether it's Lyft or Uber or DoorDash or anyone in between. We want them all to provide this to their drivers because it makes sense. Why wouldn't you provide them with a service that ensures that they feel safe driving on the road and know that it's not going to?
Yeah, absolutely. Because what happens is that, as we were talking in the green room, Uber and Lyft frequently run background checks on rideshare drivers, not as much as delivery drivers, but, a lot of these tickets are the cause of drivers to get booted off the platforms, right? And if there is a way to fight this, of course, if it's helpful, I mean, I'm all for it. As far as the app is concerned, it's just a simple app, just like the Uber app, let's say, right? You just push button and then you get connected, and an attorney, shows up in your state. And you said you covered the whole nation, correct?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So if you open the TurnSignl app after you download it and make a profile, if you open it, there's two buttons and they say, I'm being pulled over or I've been in an accident. And
Okay.
what we do is we pull your geolocation and say, okay, this person is driving in San Diego and they've been in an accident. Let's connect them to one of our accident specialist attorneys in that area, in that jurisdiction. Because when they answer the call, it's not just some random attorney in some country or some other state. It's an attorney that practices law in that jurisdiction, because what is legal in San Diego is different than St. Paul, Minnesota, which is different than Boston, Massachusetts. So we have to be cognizant of that when we're connecting you with those attorneys to guide you through it. And that's exactly right. We have attorneys in all 50 states plus DC. If you think of folks that drive in the DMV area, you might live in DC and pick up in Maryland and drop off in Virginia.
Yep.
And we have an attorney for wherever you are during that commute and during that time.
Okay. Because we recommend all our drivers to have dash cams, because that's the proof right there. I mean, that goes for unjust deactivations. I mean, I don't know if you know or not, but not every rider is straight. Okay. There are a-holes out there who will complain to Uber and Lyft that the driver was racist or he was unsafe and all these things. Without a dash cam, it's really difficult to prove, and these companies will fire you. I mean, they call it deactivation, but they'll fire you and your livelihood. Are there any plans as far as expanding this service that is for tickets and accidents now into other areas? Because I was just looking at the chat. There is a gentleman, he says, I've been a driver for 9 years. I just got deactivated. Can you help me, for example? So for that gentleman, please email me, Sergio@therideshareguy.com. I have no special powers on that, but I'll try to help you as much as I can. So to answer that question for you, are you going to expand the service into other areas of rideshare driver problems?
Yes, the accidents and pullovers are just the beginning of the services that we'll be able to provide and connecting you to the attorney you need in that moment. And beyond that, even if you have issues beyond that, whether they're emailing either of you and you forward it to me, we have attorneys in all 50 states plus DC, and we'd be more than happy to connect you with one that can guide you through that interaction. We don't get paid on connecting you to those folks, but I'm a lawyer that wants to ensure that if you have a legal need, you are able to talk to someone and really to seek out a solution. 70% of people who have legal needs never talk to an attorney, and that's terrible. You would never go into court if you had a ticket, or you should never go into court if you had a ticket by yourself. And so you absolutely should not be in that early contemplation stage without talking to an attorney as well. If nothing else, they can tell you it's not a good case or it's not a good idea, but at least you know then what you should or shouldn't be doing. and we would be more than happy to connect folks in that
Okay,
vein.
great. We briefly touched upon it in our green room, but you have an interesting story I would like you to tell to our audience.
Oh, yes. So, Chris, I know that you mentioned that you're about to have your third baby. We have 3 children as well, and my wife was driving in downtown Minneapolis, and she texted me and said, "I think I'm going into labor." And I freaked out a little bit. I was at work, and I tried to call her, but she didn't answer. And then she called me about 20 minutes later, and she said, "You'll never believe this. I received a ticket for texting while driving." And I was very upset. And I had just stopped being a public defender at that time, and so we requested a court date. We did not pay the ticket. We requested a court date. And the way the court system works, it was so long from then that when we walked into court for actual court date, I was carrying our youngest son, Malcolm, in my arms with my wife. And we walked into court with the child that she delivered after sending that text, shortly after sending that text. And in fact, you have spousal privilege and you don't have to share communications with each other. But I waived that privilege to say, look at the time of this ticket and then look at the time of the text message that came in. She was texting me saying that she was fearing she was going into labor, and the statute that sits over what is texting and driving has explicit carve outs for emergency situations. We did not even have to talk to the judge. The prosecutor agreed to waive that charge and drop that charge and waive everything, and we walked out with a not guilty on the record. And thankfully, that happened because I'm a lawyer and I was willing to take the time to help my wife in that moment. I get a lot of friends and family that call me and ask me for legal guidance or what they should do. And I always say having a lawyer that can even just show you what the statute is and how to walk through it can be tremendously helpful. But that was my own version of, and now my wife thinks I'm way smarter than I really am, which was the other win in that situation.
I'm sure you're plenty smart, but this is an interesting service. It really is, because look, last quarter Uber did 2.9 billion trips, billion with a B, individual trips, and Lyft does 2 million trips a day. And I'm plenty sure that a lot of drivers do get pulled over for reasons that probably sketchy. I mean, look, I don't know these things, but you hear things about, cops in your neighborhood have a quota, they just pull you over for any reason. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe there is some validity to it or not, but as far as I'm concerned, I think it's a wonderful service. And so we have a couple of minutes remaining, so close us up. I mean, tell us, well, all the information, by the way, folks, is going to be in the show notes. If you have any questions for Jazz, please send them to me, Sergio at therideshareguy.com. I'll be happy to forward them to his group. And I have a couple of ideas actually for you. We will need to keep in touch. But, because I've been doing this a while. So, but close us up and tell us why we need your services.
Yeah, you should never go into any of these situations. People always think that the first step in the legal process is when you're in court. The first step in the legal process is when that officer is at your window, or when you're standing outside of the vehicle after an accident and you're talking to that opposing driver. People don't know in New Jersey, if you're in an accident and it's over a certain amount of damage, you have to call the police in that moment. People don't know if they should move the car from where it's located after an accident, if it's in the middle of a road. You don't know what to do, and no amount of TikTok videos or cute little things to help give you reminders will let you remember in that moment. The thing that you should do is talk to a professional in that moment. And so we're here to do that for you. So I would really encourage you to reach out to TurnSignl, download the app, make sure that you have this available to yourself and to your loved ones. And then the last thing is we're working really hard on partnerships with dash cam companies, as well as other actual car manufacturers to implement into their products. And so whether it's a dash cam company, it's your car's touchscreen, which we're working on launching video calling in that in Q1 of next year, or whether there's a chance for us to provide TurnSignl within the platform that you drive for, whether it's Lyft, Uber, or anything else. We'd love to make that possible. And the more of you that we hear from that say, I think this would be really great for me as a driver, the more pressure we can put on them to say, you need to make this a part of your offering.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely some, at the scale that these companies are, I think you're going to be quite busy. And well, we appreciate it. We appreciate you showing up. Thank you for doing this. Again, folks, here's Jazz Hampton. He's the CEO of TurnSignl. And if you do want to contact him, the info in the show notes, but then you can email me and then I'll forward whatever you guys need to Jazz or his group. And well, much appreciated. Thank you, Jazz.
Thanks so much for having me. Good luck, Chris.
right,
Good luck on
See, he
moving his
doesn't
own
need
Uber.
luck. The wife needs luck. What is he gonna do?
Yeah, I know.
That's
I
true.
did the hard job already.
All right. Thanks again for
All
having
right,
me.
take care.
All right, thanks. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, thanks for watching. That short little clip was from our live stream, Show Me the Money Club with Sergio and myself, Tuesdays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you subscribe, turn on all notifications so you'll be notified when we go live, as well as all of our awesome content. Make sure to check out this video right here, which will take you to the entire live stream, or check out this video right there. All right, drive smart, everyone.